Hello, everybody. Oh man, how are we doing today? Oops. There we are. Oh gosh. Happy Friday. Just an FYI, I am still pretty sick. I have... Yo! Hey, Twiz, thank you for the gifted sub. Also, Lizzie, thank you for 21 months. Yeah, thank you. I don't know what the fuck hit me. It was like a one-day flu, almost. I'm almost wondering if my flu shot from like exactly 2 weeks ago finally inoculated and donked me or something. I cannot say for sure, but yesterday was pretty ass, and today is certainly better thus far. I don't seem to have a fever anymore, so I'm just kind of recovering, trying to, you know, drink my Pedialyte, fluid up. You know how it is. How have we been in the past 2 weeks? I haven't seen you in a little bit. Also, what do we think of this song, right? It's pretty good, if you ask me. Let's switch over to the other one that I've been obsessed with lately. That's not it. That's the Lord of the Rings speedrun. I can close that out. Where is it? There we go. Where? Hold on. Hold up. Let me catch up with stream. Oh, well, I like hot dogs for sure, Ring, but cheeseburgers are among my like favorite food. Oh yeah, most definitely. Metaphorical chicken soup, thank you very much. Let's go. What is it called? This song? So that's what it is. I almost said Rhapsody of the Damned. It's not that. Here, check this out. It's called No No No. This is a jam. Gotta listen to this. What if I just yacked? What's a glizzy gobbler? Ugh. Fuck me. I got some good news. So some of you may have seen this already because Lizzie has been very hot dog enjoyer. Why do I know that? What's glizzy gobbler? Where did that come from? I feel like that's floating around somewhere in my brain. Yo, geez, CP, thank you for 5 gifted subs. Thank you so much. So Lizzie's been very diligent about letting people know, but I've been cranking through the user suggestions, or attempting to. We're just a little bit under halfway through, so in the time since the last time I saw you guys, I think I finished like 300 something, which just goes to show you. I told you that I'm faster off stream than I am. Yeah, okay, so Wolf is talking about it too. That's funny that you mentioned that. Oh, nice, of course, Wolf. I mean, the tickets don't even, there's no favoritism either, because the tickets don't usually show who suggests them. We try to figure out a way to get it to do that, but we didn't want to pay for the custom fields on Trello, which I might have to do anyway, because, not because of the custom fields, but because we might have to upgrade the plan, because we're starting to run out of automation shit. But yeah, so I've been really trying to crank through the user suggestions just to get that knocked out. All of that is in preparation for the roadmap page, which I've been kind of theory crafting and working on. I've been talking about it with Tyler a little bit, trying to figure out the best way to present stuff that we want to put on there. In the meantime, it's been kind of a crazy couple weeks, right? Because we left last Wednesday for New Orleans, which was really fun. And then we arrived home we were supposed to arrive home like late Saturday, and then our flights were delayed, and so we were going to miss our connecting flight, so we had to stay an extra night in like a little motel and fly out in the morning. So, and it's just been kind of like a whirlwind, right? And so yeah, this week's been a little gnarly, and I've had a lot of freelance to do this week. But so I've been doing a lot of the suggestions and just kind of doing like some maintenance work. I've also been doing the preparatory stuff for the religion expansion integration. Lizzie has. Do we have a hype train? Shit, I can't even. This doesn't even tell me. Sup? Hey, apparently the Restream chat does not display this. Wonderful. Thank you, Restream chat. Oh god, I really need more fluids. Also, isn't this song fucking cool? Am I wrong or am I right? What was I gonna say? Yeah, so we got a bunch of those done. There's a lot of crazy shit on the suggestions page. I think it's really cool. Why don't I just throw a... Here, bravely default to OST, all battle/boss themes. Yo, thank you for 18 bits, Ring. Oh, brought to you by Q. Thank you for 17 months. I don't know why those notification sounds are so low. Maybe because I have it... my thing. So I'm going to take Bravely Default, which I've never played, but I hear it's good. My friend Nimra, I believe, played all of the first one at least. Maybe the second one, too. Hey! That one extra bit, that's the real shit. Alright, so we're going to let that be like a low hum here. Just about there. And let's go ahead and take a look at some... oh yeah, I'm trying to compile for like the newest version of Skyrim, and I don't know why, but my Wabbajack keeps freezing. And so I'm going to have to figure out what's going on there, but I'll do that on my own time. In the meantime, why don't we look at some suggestions? People say Bravely Default is really good. They say it's a lot of fun. It's been a long time since I played a good JRPG, you know? Okay. Let's do... no, not... I want the Trello board. There we are. So we've got a lot of stuff on here now. And I've really just been going in order. But yeah, this is a... it's kind of funny that you give me like a week offline and I can crank out, you know, what's like the most I ever did on a stream? 10? More than that. Excuse me. Let's see. Chanting a Requiem is very weak now. Who's this? Oh, it's Sunny. 9.5. I just can't focus doing actual work on stream. It's hard for me to focus on anything on stream besides talking with you guys. That's why I'm trying to figure out. So with season 3 of the Let's Play, which I wanted to release or dive into, you know, like somewhere post 1.2.0 release, I would like to return to like a season 1 style where I spend less time kind of pre-configuring the character backstories and we kind of figure that stuff out, you know, together. I thought that was really fun. And I was thinking that a stream, what I mean by that is I would release like an episode of Hjolfred, right? And then I would get comments talking about some of like the story beats that we would come up with, that I would come up with in the episode, and then that would kind of like inspire me to tweak it in like further episodes. So that was really cool, and I was hoping to replicate that, and I think that's a big part of why the 2 characters from season 1 felt so special. And I was thinking, oh, you know, like I guess streams technically would make that viewer engagement component even stronger. At least it could, but I also am like infinitely distractible, and I'm afraid that if I was trying to... I'm not like a streamer, right? I'm not like a game streamer, especially. Unless I'm just, you know, playing something that's not Skyrim. Because if it's Skyrim, I have too many thoughts going on in my head. So I thought that if I tried to do Season 3 online, as they say, streaming, it might be a bit too... I might not get anything done, right? So maybe I'll just keep it offline. It's probably more enjoyable offline for me too, because then I get to kind of immerse myself, you know, just really into the world. I did see the modding tools. I was tweeting about it. I think it's really cool. I love the idea of less time spent, you know. I mean, obviously any sort of like AI generation is a controversial topic. A lot of people are worried that it's going to like replace artists, and I can understand the worries. I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't think that it will necessarily. I think it's one of those technologies that at least hopefully shifts where the artists choose to spend their time and effort, right? Because, you know, like, here, actually, let's take a look at this together. For those of you who have not seen this, let's see. Let's find this video that NVIDIA released. Maybe I'll just Google it. NVIDIA modding tool. PCgamer.com. Get out of here. Here. Yo, thank you for 7 months, Monique. Much appreciated. Let's see here. Where's the video at? Come on. Is it really not here? Okay. Also, hold on. Wow, this song is terrifying. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it, you know, if they adapt stuff like this. Maybe it's easier to adapt it for DirectX 9 or something. No, don't ask me for that. I don't ever want any website to show me. I don't ever want notifications for anything. Okay, I guess this doesn't have the video, which is really the only thing that I'm looking for. Let's try Games Radar. Here we go. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alex Ben.
Check it out. Bravely Default. Shush.
Technical lead at NVIDIA Lightspeed Studios, and currently developing NVIDIA RTX Remix. We built Remix to enable modders with an easy way to make their own RTX remasters of classic games. And today, I'm going to walk us through the workflow for turning RTX on in The Elder Scrolls Morrowind by Bethesda Softworks. Let's dive in. 6 minutes long, so we're not going to watch the whole thing. The journey starts with a powerful capture tool included in the Remix runtime. When Morrowind detects the presence of Remix, it will utilize it as its primary renderer rather than the original games. By intercepting the rendering process like this, Remix can see the game world. All I have to do now is press the capture button in-game, and the Remix runtime will take a snapshot of everything around me.
This is pretty crazy.
The textures, geometry, and lights, and convert those into the Universal Scene Description
I did read the title,
USD for short. USD is an industry-standard 3D file format that can easily be imported.
You can't check on Twitch, huh? Can you not like go back on Twitch streams to like see something that someone just said like a little while ago? Because that's kind of crazy. At least I couldn't figure it out.
Let's take my Morrowind capture and open it in the Remix application. As you can see within the Remix toolkit, I can explore the game world in the main viewport here. This is useful to inspect the game objects close up, so I can start thinking about which objects might deserve some
I actually haven't seen this full video.
I can observe lighting and shadows in isolation, helping me see what lights may need work. Mesh mode can help me recognize that this candle is low.
Yeah, I know you can do it with like a VOD.
And needs updating.
It's just not
Seamlessly
live.
Being able to inspect my scene, make changes, and preview them without having to launch a game makes the whole process much easier.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge.
As noted with the candle, Morrowind has many
so you can just immediately like kind of AI upscale existing textures
with its powerful AI texture tools. With a single click, our AI texture tools can
This is what I feel like people don't kind of understand, like how this is working.
What's more, we can transform the original legacy materials to modern, physically based ones. To do this, we've trained a neural network on thousands of images of games textures to the point where the AI can look at the single color textures that make.
So with that, what it's talking about, to be clear, is that the AI not only can upscale the textures, like what the content of them, but also because of the machine learning, it will try and identify the material that it's made of, which is why I'm sure it's going to show off some lighting really quick here.
The object is
it's like it understands that this is, you know,
the AI can then construct roughness and
clay,
to model
like
that material
building material or whatever the fuck it is in Morrowind, like that. Yeah, totally.
Adds additional detail to the objects and makes them react.
I'm sure you won't get 100% accuracy with that, but even getting anywhere close to it would be a huge time save.
Cores make these AI tools run even faster. Many classic games, and Morrowind included, didn't really render the shadows cast from every light.
Some models are different in size altogether. Do they, CP? I mean, I know that I'm assuming they're going to get into this in a little bit, but I guess we are going to watch the whole thing because this is cool. I know that like a big part of this workflow also is swapping the models that it detects for like more modern contemporary alternatives. That's redundant, what I just said. So yeah, I mean that it very well could be that they've swapped out some of these models entirely. I think they're going to talk about that.
This, however, can be a bit of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, people seem pretty upset.
Often built with rendering shortcuts that need to be addressed in the context of a realistic lighting model. Here, we have a light placed inside
Twitch
a lantern.
Seems to be
in the original game, the light
struggling
great,
right now.
Also,
it's only kind of like tangentially related, but I know there's that crazy drama going on with all the
to fix this,
Twitch
we create
streamers.
A double-sided paper material with emissive properties to give that cool blue color and allow the light to pass through properly.
Cool.
As a final touch, let's create a new light that sits directly on the flame. And now we have accurate shadows, even from the fixture propping the lamp up.
Huh.
Using Remix,
That's
you
so
can
cute.
create new lights and change their placement, color, and intensity.
Yo, what's up, GP?
You can even add emissive maps and create dynamic lights by attaching them to movable meshes.
Oh, how cool.
But it's not complete without adding custom assets.
Yeah, here's the custom
let's take
assets.
An asset and remodel it in Maya.
Is this motherfucker building out
Because
individual
Remix
planks?
Is built on NVIDIA
How cool.
Omniverse,
Oh,
creators
what a
can
cool
leverage the
little
entire
adjustment at
Omniverse
the end there,
platform
too.
To reimagine any asset.
That's a shitty
That
table.
includes the Omniverse connected game development apps like Autodesk's Maya and Adobe's Substance and Photoshop.
Is this Maya?
When manipulating USD files in Omniverse, they're live
tool
sync,
is this?
so you can
Is this the
modify
Adobe one?
assets and conveniently see the changes.
What do people use
live
for their
in
modeling?
RTX Remix.
Yeah, totally
can even
CP.
use
So what it'll
Omniverse's
do,
live
probably not
collaborative
dynamically, maybe
capabilities
dynamically,
to
I don't
work with
know.
another modder in a scene in
But they
real
talk
time.
about how they've
Remix also makes
yeah,
it
here we go.
incredibly easy to add new assets to a scene or switch assets at will. Watch as I change every instance of an asset across the whole game. With our remaster complete, we can export the full RTX mod and see it in action.
I was wondering, like,
exported
what's
mod
the export
comprises of all
format?
the USD files we've changed, in addition to the RTX Remix runtime. The Remix runtime will switch out the original game assets in real time, all while adding path-traced rendering powered by RTX for beautiful graphics, DLSS3 to boost frame rates, and Reflex to improve responsiveness into the game.
Yeah, I'm
All we have to
streaming
do is launch the
on
game,
YouTube
start
and
playing.
Twitch right now. Although I'm not a Twitch partner, so it doesn't really matter what I'm doing. That's so crazy. So cool. So if I had to guess how it would work, and I don't know this for certain, but I'd imagine right there that if there's like a kind of a dynamic scan component, right? There is a dynamic scan of assets where it'd be like, hey, here's an asset that we have that we feel is similar to what we are detecting in the environment.
Every
Then
RTX
it'd be
mod
pretty
with
easy
the
to be like,
Remix
all right,
runtime
this
will
old
let
pot,
modders and
swap
players
it for this new
customize
one.
their experience during gameplay from the overlay. For example, I can globally adjust the parameterization of materials on the fly,
Wow.
and tweak physical volumetric fog, and just generally change the look of the game, from increasing the number of light bounces to sometimes more profound changes.
Rings,
I can even
watching
add
this going,
post-processing
oh
effects
my
like motion
god.
blur, bloom, and tone mapping. Remix is an incredibly powerful modding platform, and it was a real joy to build.
Yeah, it does. I mean,
Can't
it
wait
does
to see
look better
what
than
classics and
Skyrim.
ideas the community will remaster with RTX Remix.
You're talking. I mean, just where Skyrim really struggles is, I mean, just like this is an oversimplification, but you know, it's you can obviously make Skyrim look beautiful in a lot of ways, but it's a pretty old version of Bethesda's engine renderer. If you just pop ahead to Fallout 4 even, which Fallout 4, a lot of it still looks dated compared to stuff today, but Fallout 4 is, in my opinion, you know, pretty graphically impressive in a lot of ways. A big part of that is lighting, and basically the way to me lighting is like the real it's kind of the frontier of making games look really realistic. And when I say lighting, I don't just mean like, I mean everything that lighting kind of encompasses. So that's, you know, point lighting, ambient lighting, materials. This is why materials are so important with textures, because you need to be able to identify what materials or material a thing is supposed to be made of so that the lighting can interact with it properly. When you see something like this, like what they're just looking at here with the bottom
gameplay,
like this is, you know, the textures here like are a big deal. I'm assuming this is like a bump map or like a normal map or like whatever. But what really gets you, what really like lands that realism, or like this, it's you know, the texture and the model are important for making sure that the lighting interacts with it properly. What makes this look real is the way that the lighting affects it, right? So lighting is tremendously important. I think it's where you've had a huge amount of development focus when it comes to tool creators, you know, people like Epic Games with Unreal. One of the big claims to fame for Unreal Engine 5 is the, what is it called? Lumen system. It's like dynamic lighting renderer. It's yeah, I'd rather have a, I mean, well, you know what you have is if anyone's ever played Valheim, right? The textures are not shitty in the sense that, like, when I would think like shitty texture, I think like a badly designed texture, right? The textures in Valheim are like very low res on purpose. It's kind of like Minecraft, right? Like Minecraft's textures, for example, generally are not shitty. They're actually very well designed, but they're very low res. They're going for this, like, you know, very pixel kind of art style, and it's very low resolution, pixel art style. Valheim is a game with incredible lighting. It's a game that I think for many people feels so much more graphically beautiful, despite the fact that the textures are extremely low res and like the models are not generally, you know, crazy high poly. It's very cool. Hey, what's up, Charmbarian? Oh, that's awesome, Ring. I didn't know that. Morrowind is it's the GOAT in my opinion. It's so cool to see that. It's so cool to see stuff like this. Morrowind, to me, it's like I just love it so much. If I didn't make, you know, Skyrim, what is it that I make? What's it, Wildlander? If it wasn't based on Skyrim, like Morrowind would have been my next choice. It's really tough because it's like, you know, to me, so if you look at Morrowind in the context of Daggerfall, right? So people who were huge Daggerfall fans who then were annoyed with Morrowind, right, because of certain features that Morrowind, you know, removed, or what is definitely a much more focused, say, design, right? Whereas Daggerfall is supposed to be this giant kind of like huge in scope world simulation almost. I think the people who enjoyed that component of Daggerfall were disappointed by Morrowind, but for most of the people who played Morrowind as their first Elder Scrolls game, and that's me as well, and for the people who played the Elder Scrolls games since, which actually just kind of goes to show you how at least the direction Bethesda's taken in the pursuit of accessibility has kind of continued in this trend, which I understand is largely fueled by Todd Howard, and I don't think it's a bad move in terms of making your game playable to more people. But Morrowind, it's, to me, there's a lot of what Daggerfall does that's interesting that's still retained in Morrowind. Specifically, I think the factional kind of interactions. I know it can be like, you know, well, it's cool. I really like the way that Morrowind handles factions. I like the idea of factions having, you know, a framework to impact your gameplay. You don't, if you fast forward to Oblivion and Skyrim, they are like the Uncharted of like an open world RPG. You don't really have a lot of components of world sims, immersive sims that were present in the original games. This includes Morrowind as well, even though it's scaled down. They've largely abandoned that kind of thing in favor of more cinematic kind of player singularly focused experiences. And it's just, that's, I mean, largely a huge part of Wildlander's experience, in addition to, the kind of survival immersion type stuff, is this return. It's an attempt to inject a lot of these very RPG, very immersive sim, world sim kind of mechanics back into the game. Things like factional relationships, individual relationships. I don't know. It's that stuff. It's very important to me personally for games to have that. If I'm supposed to believe that you want a series of systems that interacts, right? Because that's a world. Otherwise, it's a bunch of cardboard facades. It's like a big thing that kind of claims to be a world, but it's not really. Yeah, I saw that, RK. That's by Jay. I did play Kingdom Come Deliverance, actually. There's a playthrough on this channel, on the Wildlander channel, which used to be, my own kind of LP channel. I never finished it, but I did play it, and I thought it was really cool in a lot of ways. That's another one where I imagine it's probably a lot more like Skyrim in terms of, I don't know if there's a whole lot of like factional gameplay or kind of like living world type mechanics in Kingdom Come. I do think that graphically and in terms of a lot of like immersion-y things that don't have to do with those sim components, it was really strong. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like Morrowind's about the only thing almost that's what I started to say, like, is wonky, is that Morrowind does have factional frameworks, right? But generally speaking, the impact of that is limited to stuff like, oh, you join this faction, like this person doesn't like you now, or that person likes you more, which is cool, but it's not tremendously extensive. There's, like Ring just said. Also, if you guys don't know this, Ring is the creator of Jan. He's a member of our team and also the creator of that Morrowind mod pack. Yes, it is the best foundation of a world. So you have like the frameworks that exist like in this way, but the way, like, take Wildlander for instance, how we try and inject all these kind of dynamic faction type things, right? Like you have these factions that, like, Skyrim has factions, it has factional relations, and that's cool, but the player doesn't, there's not a whole lot of like dynamic components of Skyrim to begin with, right? The most kind of dynamic thing that you see is when the player, like, their kind of perception of dynamism is the player will be walking down the road and they'll trigger an encounter that's like a random encounter of, various different things. There's no true like dynamic component to the world, which is what we try to inject. I want factions. Like, in my dream situation is that you have something kind of like organic factions, if you guys have ever seen that, where the factions are real. We have factions that kind of like go about the world and do stuff and end up kind of interacting with other factions they like or dislike or whatever. But the goals are largely kind of fake. The goals are like, oh, go here and like kill some stuff there, but that's as deep as it goes. It's almost like go here and see what happens, right? And it's not like they're going there for a specific purpose. There's nothing like there's nothing deeper like the faction's stock of X resource that is important for making this thing that they want to make. There's no chain of logic that says, okay, like my AI says I want to make, and you can go really deep with it too, depending. It's like, I want to make armor for my faction, so we don't have the stuff I need to make armor, so then there's some sort of like interfactional job, right, that gets disseminated to the AI that says, hey, we need this material, and then that gets a bunch of them to go out and try and find that material and like take it back, right? There's nothing like that, which of course is very deep and difficult to do. When you start trying to have all the factions in a game. I mean, you're really building like a simulated systems-based world at that point, which to me is fascinating. It's the kind of thing that I am interested in pursuing. I think this has been something that game designers have. I mean, you can rewind back as early as there have been games. I mean, this is the kind of impetus behind many tabletop worlds and whatever. Like, people have always had this idea, and the technology just kind of allows us to get closer and closer. I would love to have, I mean, Wildlander is my attempt to kind of like create a game that incorporates a bunch of these features with also like the strength of what Skyrim already offers, the strength of what exists in the modding scene. But I would love this like fully dynamic world. The problem is when you do that kind of thing, it can get really gnarly. Like, the closest thing to something like this that I can think of, you have games like Dwarf Fortress. You have, I'm pretty sure RimWorld is a lot of that, but maybe on like a smaller scale, which is probably smart, at least in terms of computational load. It's pretty, Organic Factions to me seems kind of like the baseline framework that we'll want to move into. See, it was like Project Zomboid, and these, like, Project Zomboid is really, there's not really, like, they're adding NPCs, right? But so, like, Project Zomboid is completely devoid of any sort of NPCs. There's no factional gameplay there. There's no anything of that nature. Project Zomboid, which I love, by the way, I love Project Zomboid. Its systems are entirely like survival based, right? And that's where the storytelling, it's all about generating stories, and the systems are the mechanism by which that happens. It's generating interesting stories that feel unique to you and make you feel like you've had an experience that perhaps no one else has had, or even if you ignore that component, an experience that was exciting to you, that felt like it was very much like your story, right? That's the goal for all of it, everything. Zomboid, you get that still sometimes, a lot of the time. I think that's what makes it engaging, but it's not factional. There's no living world component of it beyond, there's some stuff, I guess you would count, like, the way that, like, after a certain period of time, the power turns off, and now, the running water and stuff that was working electricity is now turning off, and so the world state is changing. And that serves as like somewhat of that, but there's no NPCs, and without any NPCs, there's no factional gameplay. There's no, you're never gonna stumble across a group of NPCs that have some specific goal they're trying to achieve, that have chosen that area to try and achieve it, and stuff. Like, there you go. Yeah, it does have like the simulation for sure. Anyway, so yeah, all this stuff. Yeah, I mean, CDDA, that's another one. What else do you have? You got immersive sim games. I mean, mini games kind of incorporate bits and pieces of this. And there's like what was the name of that? I mean, you got like the Banner, or the Mountain Blade series has components of this. Some of it is more advanced than you'll find like in other genres. Fallout New Vegas is another. That's probably Fallout New Vegas in terms of like narrative systems is like among the best, and yes, the OG Fallouts in terms of like reactivity narratively, it's fantastic. Wayward Realms could be. Wayward Realms is kind of hard to pin down, right? Because it's the creators of Daggerfall, and it's an extremely early stage. They just recently showed off some of like the technology that they plan to use for their like procedural generation. It is very much trying to be like a successor to Daggerfall, and we'll see how that goes. I'm a little worried about that one, to be honest. Or it's like it's a really ambitious project, like really ambitious, and I don't know, like we'll wait and see. I hope it goes well. I would love to play something like that. And it might be, I mean, you do have, like, if the people who are made, it's primarily Julian LeFay and Ted Peterson is the writer behind it, right? But I mean, the vision is great. It's like the vision, this is what I mean. It's like it's existed for a very long time. It's like vision is the idea, and the execution matters a lot. And so hopefully we'll see, but I wouldn't expect to really start seeing stuff from that's gonna, really generate the hype until later. And that's probably for the best too. Like, hype is a double-edged sword for any sort of project. It can be a real fuckler. It just sucks. It's like, game dev is hard, guys. It's probably, I mean, you can't really say, it's hard to try and compare things, right? Like, things are apples to oranges a lot of the time. And, to say that game dev is like one of the hardest, quote unquote, like, I think that's true, maybe in like an abstract sense. It's a very hard industry, but, to compare the difficulties of one industry to another is tough. I think it is fair to say that game dev is a very, very difficult job, and it's difficult in ways that are hard to grasp from the outside. This is like the the recent Donkey discourse, right, with him starting Big Mode with Leah, being like a publisher. I wish them the best of luck with that as well. But game dev is really, really tough, and you really, there's so, how it's a, it's an idiom at this point, how many, like, you'll have, so a lot of the time people start out in like the critical theory space, right? So you'll have like YouTubers, you'll have video game essayists, and critics who decide like, hey, I want to, because it does, being like a good critic is a it really does, in my opinion, like, it sets you up for a lot of I think it gives you good taste in what like a final product can be. I don't think that it super well suits you for or reveals the process of game dev. And this is the idiom part, is that like so many people who have transitioned from like critique to development have been like, holy fuck, like, and even if you specifically research like development difficulties, which would help, it'll help transition you more easily, I'm sure. But it's like with anything, like with most things I think in life, at least in my experience, that's almost like a pun from what I'm about to say, there really is a difference between hearing about something or kind of like intellectually understanding something and experiencing it yourself. It's a different vibe. A good example of that, like for me, right, was like when I started doing like freelance stuff, or like I've been really ramping up my freelance in order to support, Wildlander development by Ring. Hey, you should do that though, by the way. Like, you should send, at the very least, you can send them your stuff if you're still here. Like, send them anything you want, and just like, like they can take it as they will. Or I know they have like that networking one too, but like, hey, there's nothing ventured, nothing gained. But yeah, so like when I started really ramping up freelance, one of the big struggles for me has been this like, it's like kind of funny to say, and I know it's like an old story, but, and again, it's a story that I've heard a million times. Oh, cool. Look, we got some spam. I'm going to have to go on YouTube and fix this. I don't think I can do it through my, what's it called? YouTube and fix Restream chat. I can do it here, though. No, don't go to channel. Do I have, like, moderator tools on YouTube? Here we go. Hide user on this channel. Boom, baby. Well, that's, I mean, Ring, I often think the same thing. And the question, or the I feel like the answer is like sometimes, yeah. And like also anyone, we're the most likely to like discount the value or like the accomplishments that we've made, right? Like everyone's their own worst critic. And there's often so much more about the quality and the dedication that exists like in your work that we don't really kind of like acknowledge, and other people will. Again, it's like you can just my kind of rule of thumb, which I really was like inspired by my wife in this regard, but my wife is an excellent interviewer, I think, and she will, the way that she like, you know, interviews for things or like, you know, applies for prospective clients or whatever, is like she's just honest about like what she's done, like what her capabilities are. She's not like you don't like discount yourself, but you also, I think there's a big emphasis, at least in certain schools of thought, on like faking it till you make it when it comes to like job applications and things of that nature. And in certain instances, in certain industries, I do think that like a degree of that is appropriate. And especially if like you're just starting out in like a career, like entry level, like sometimes, you know, I know many people for whom like maybe they had to fudge their capabilities in like that first entry level position to like get the opportunity, and they did that just with the follow through like in tow, right? That like if they got the opportunity, when they got the opportunity, and they already were like training their skills, you know, trying to like make themselves into like a more desirable candidate. And in that case, like, yeah, for sure. But otherwise, I think there's really, I think it's almost underrated, just like really showing, like showcase what you've done. That's like the best thing, I think, right? Like give people examples, build a portfolio of your work, and the work is the work, you know what I mean? So like it'll whatever, however they interpret it, like there's no falsehood there. I think it's always kind of crappy when we begin professional relationships with like fibs, you know what I mean? I mean, fibs, it's lies, really. I mean, lies sounds intense, but I think there's a certain, like, professional relationships are also personal relationships, which is not to say there shouldn't be a divide between work and like personal life. That's not what I'm saying. I mean that like working in anything is working with people, whether that's your clients, whether it's your team, whether it's your boss. Like you kind of want to, I think, work with people who respect you, who respect your work, and who you offer like reciprocal respect to. And I don't know, I think that there's nothing to be lost by saying, like, let's, you know, using like Donkey's big mode as an example here. If you wanted to apply and say, hey, you know what, this is what I do, this is what I have done, here's my portfolio, here's some metrics I can show you, you know, here's my skills. If any of that is pertinent or useful to you, then, you know, like, that's great. And then if there's, you know, anything I'd be suited for, like, I'd love to hear about it, and all the best. You know, it's like, it's really that simple to me anyway. And it might turn it, it's like, hey, it's Michael Scott, Wayne Gretzky. You miss 100% of shots that you never take, right? Anyway, what was the rest of this?
Volumetric fog, and just generally change the look of the game.
I guess we did.
Try to build. We can't wait to see what classics and ideas the community will remaster with
pretty cool stuff. So we're supposed to be doing mod suggestions, right? I like talking about this stuff more. Mod suggestions are fun. This is what I mean. It's like the mod suggestions can be fun, but I crank them out much faster off stream anyway. You guys can see my process, but I also like to be pretty, not verbose. I like to explain my thinking on like why I, you know, approve or decline or whatever. Hopefully that's evident just by reading the comments. Say needs further assessment. Initially thought might be superfluous because of our upcoming skill system, but this mod appears to make changes to the enchanting curve itself, which we would still need to route with our skills, and so it might be a good addition or at least strong inspo. There you go. Boom, baby. Yes, knowing a parent versus being one. Absolutely. You know what I need to do here? I'm going to put, pause my own stream. Okay, cool. Just to make sure that, what's it called? Restream chat still works properly. Where's my Bravely default? Where'd it go? Whoa, where actually did it go? How many? No, you get out of here. How many? Where's my? Did I close it? I guess I did. Oh well. Let's get it back. I need some jams. There we go. That's allowed. How about there? Shush. Ha! Stream the Splatfest. Unfortunately not. I'm gonna need to make some time to play in the Splatfest. I believe I did stream Splatoon 2, like, at one point. I actually have, like, the setup here to stream Switch games and other console games. I just, that was back when I was still gonna try and kind of, do, like, a Let's Play channel type shit. Dawnguard Arsenal, SSE. Let's see. Spam. Yeah, I did block that, what's it called, that channel, but unfortunately that doesn't delete it from Restream. Yeah, everyone spam the chat to just scroll that shit up. No, we have not implemented organic factions. Not yet, DK. That would be like a... I mean, strong, like, priority, but I've got some other stuff that I need to kind of crank out beforehand. Primarily the skills system, which I plan on kind of existing or forming this, like, fundamental base of the future gameplay experience. Play weapons. Dawnguard Battleaxe, Battlehammer. There's just, like, some more Dawnguard stuff. Sunray, cool. None of the bugs. I love this kind of comment. Where can I find the spells? It's like, as I already said, they are... Oh, Mercy Patrol's update. Oh. I mean... Let's see. Wow, this is a cool ass song. Let's say approved, assuming the balance is not too out of whack. Like having more varied tools, especially with a specific theme. And DD stuff is rad. There you go. That one very much toes the line between approved and needs further assessment. But it seems like it'd be okay. And since we'd have to, like, rebalance spells and weapons anyway, it's, like, not that different. Reworks XP system for alchemy, gets rid of palm alchemy. Useful now lost. Oh, wow. Okay. AGD. Yeah, this one might be a good... Even though we plan on kind of rebalancing with the skill system anyway, this would probably be like a good baseline. Oh, does it, DK? I mean, that's cool. Again, like, so the Requiem patch I would assume, unless it's patching like the spells, in which case, like, again, those we are gonna have to patch like manually anyway. You guys mind if I take my temperature on stream real fast? As part of the skills system changes, like, I'm gonna have to rebalance all the weapons anyway, so. And actually, it shouldn't be too bad. Shouldn't be that tough. Yeah, that's a cool song. Can I jump to the bottom of this? I can. Huh. When was the last time you had a popsicle? Hey, 97.3. Sounds like a radio station. That's what you like to see. Requiem patch exists for Ellie at least. This is an issue, potentially. This I like a lot. The 60-second durations are kind of annoying. Any plan to make alchemy potions that we craft equal to the ones that we find or buy? In what sense, Monarch? Oh, but you can make them. Okay, well that's actually not so bad. Huh, cool. Okay. Say needs further assessment since it's a big change to a fundamental balance component. However, the changes do seem sensible to me, and I would consider this a strong contender for frontrunner. Pre and post skills overhaul. So just need to evaluate the other balances as well. I have heard a little bit about the resurgence that Cyberpunk has seen as a result of the anime. I'm stoked to watch the anime. It's by Studio Trigger. It is one of my favorite anime production studios. Well, so what it... 1 HP, 22. Yeah, so what exactly is the issue, Monarch Game? You're saying that you only want potions that you make to be exactly equivalent to the potions that you can buy? Someone made an Elder Scrolls anime. That could be cool. Path of Transcendence Lichdom, huh? Short quest to discover. Oh, interesting. So, I mean, TX, yeah, did Undeath Immersive Lichdom. So how does this differ? Maybe it's supposed to be like a less kind of intense, obtrusive. Huh. So Lich has like a well. Yeah, I mean alchemy, I mean that's how it is in vanilla as well. Like you have 5 or 6 potion tiers, I can't remember which. But alchemy or potions that you create are like a dynamic system versus like, you know, bespoke, pre-created. I mean, that kind of should be the case, although I believe that also is the case. Or it's supposed to be. Like, ingredients have like, I believe like component strengths. I can check that really fast in Xedit. To be honest, alchemy is something that I don't, like, know a ton about because it's boring to me and I never use it. Or like a little bit. Let's see here. Oh, you know what? Actually, here. I should not have skipped loading references. We might need it. No, I don't want to start the game. But if you're asking, like, if the idea is that potions that we make should always fall into, like, the tiers, then probably not. That's probably never going to be the case. In which case, also, like, the skill system, the overhaul that I have planned is going to do, like, the opposite of that, where it's everything is, like, granularly scaled. Sounds like a clown boss battle. Ingredient. Tundra cotton. Ingredient value. Right, so here... This is... So what you're talking about in terms of the, you know, potion made with wheat and flowers would always be worse than rare ingredients. So that should be the case as long as the ingredient itself has these magnitudes, like, adjusted properly. So, like, Tundra cotton, for example, is a, you know, relatively easy to find value 1. Let's compare that with a, what, ectoplasm should be relatively rare, right? It has much higher, what's it called, magnitude components for rarer base effects. Potions made with wheat and flowers are better than store-bought ones at level 20-ish alchemy. Well, level 20 is probably a little bit too low for that. It's a question of... I mean, see, this is where the rebalance of the skill system comes in. It's all about, like, the curve. And at least in Requiem, maybe vanilla. Who knows? I've never played vanilla, not since, you know, Vietnam. The curve is what you want to adjust, right? Because you would think that, like, a trained alchemist, a skilled alchemist, maybe would, you know, be able to take lower quality ingredients and really squeeze the utility out of them. That fits in line with, like, a skilled alchemist to me. But level 20 alchemy probably should not be when you were able to do that, right? Level scaling and ingredient magnitudes. My plan for the skill overhaul, I've said it in previous streams, is I'm just getting rid of perks entirely, basically. Or like my implementation of perks is like, if I go this route, which is gonna be, it's a big maybe. The only perks that you'll get will be like, it's an arbitrary example. Let's use alchemy as one where it's like, let's say you hit level 30 or something and you get a choice between like 2 perks or 3 perks that have like opportunity costs, right? So something like, you know, you loot more ingredients from stuff, but you're more likely to find more, but like there's some counterbalance, right? Oh my god, this fucking chat. I thought I just hit all these. Or wait, is it hidden for you guys? This spam, rather, is what I meant. Or is this a different one? What the hell? Hide user on this channel. Sick. I mean, well, maybe it's a different channel technically than the other one. I like the name, Chat69XYZ. So yeah, my plan for all the kind of like skills and perks and whatnot is just to, like, perks would be, if you ever played like a Stardew Valley, that's like a good example of like a similar system where it's like, you know, you hit level 5 in any like farming or whatever, and it's like, oh, you have a chance to get double, like a double harvest when you harvest a crop, or you can choose that, you know, the like quality crops are like worth more money or something like that. Like you know, if you want to, but otherwise you just have. To me, the skill system that I have planned is, it's not only much simpler from like a understanding perspective, like for the user, because it's like, hey, it's like how many systems are. Oh yeah, so you can have like, if you include those kinds of perks, then you can differentiate somewhat. But also the idea here, what also encourages replayability to me, is that you can just have like hella different skills. You're not just limited to, you know, the 18 that you get. And then that's kind of the replayability encourager primarily, is like you have a bunch of different types of skills that you can specialize in. And it's easier to balance, you know what I mean? Like if alchemy is really just a, like, you know, increasing your skill just provides like passive bonuses, which is how like most of the skills will function. It's just way easier to balance than like these kind of weird power jumps that like perks provide. Exactly that, Monarch. Is YouTube and follower sub? I don't think so. I didn't even know such a thing existed. If it is, I didn't do it on purpose. Let's see. Is there an easy spot that I can check that? Top chat. Say live chat. Wait, oh, top chat. Live chat, all messages are visible. Okay. So there's two types of chat apparently. Live chat and top chat. Top chat, I guess, filters spam automatically or something. I don't know. I have no idea what's getting fed into the Restream chat bot. Yes, that's the other issue. I mean, it all started with like the first baseline problem to solve was that I did not like how people were encouraged to, you know, cheese perk points by like leveling up skills that don't actually match their character. It always felt weird to me and just metagamey. And the whole idea of like the perk point system, I don't necessarily dislike it. It's not my ideal kind of system, and so I've been working kind of privately in the background on this skill system upgrade that is going to form the basis of 2.0.0, our first 2.0. Because I wanted to, there's other things that I want to work on as well, but the more I thought about it, since what I'm trying to do is such a change to the fundamental kind of like skill and experience, I thought it just seemed more sensible to me to get that constructed, at least the first MVP of it constructed and implemented first, and then it would be easier to kind of, as we implement more content and more mods and stuff, I think it's easier to kind of like, I would rather add those in when we already know kind of how to patch and adjust the content for our new system versus like adding in stuff and then having to go back through and change it. It's not that big of a difference, but to my brain it feels better. Oh yeah, I would love to. Cows, I guess, kind of are in the wild, but not really, huh? It does, and they're not really. Okay. Well, so I like the idea. Some of the titles of these songs are fantastic. The rhythm of a battle that never stops ringing. Rad. For the assessment. A tough one because we already well, how do I put this? But this mod allows you to attain which done earlier and with less hullabaloo, and has its own progression system for Lichdom, which is something I like for all of my transformations. One issue I always had with Undeath is that the Lich form was so difficult to achieve and acquire. You were typically already OP by the time you got it. That said, I have no idea how this mod actually plays. Or in depth at this point, so we need to evaluate. It's also worth noting this mod is by TX12. Yeah. Created in-depth immersive Lichdom. Increase camera bob. Oh. Age restricted. Uh-oh. Does that mean that it's gonna... Okay. Here's what we're gonna do for that, then. Watch it over here. Oh, wow. XSplit recording. Oh. Well, it's got some bikini girls in bikini armors. Also, wow, the FOV on this is, like, really intense. Here. Really low. Okay, that's walking. Yeah, here's running. I mean, that's pretty up there in terms of intensity. I feel like... Wow, 47,000 views this video. This song is called Judgment Flashing in the Shadow of Supremacy. So normally I would like, I'm gonna call this one questionable. Actually no, we'll call it needs further assessment. Normally I opt away from head bob because it motion sickness inducing. This is why it's disabled in our implementation of immersive camera. Wait, what's the fucking... Oh my god. Unlock. Quiet camera. Improved camera. I knew that wasn't right. However, it's possible this mod's could be better. Maybe worth trying just for funsies. Also possible it won't work at all, what I see. There you go. Because I do actually kind of like I like the idea of like a head bob, something that makes it feel a little bit more grounded in the world versus you're just kind of like a floating camera. But it's the implementation that always gets me, right? Yes, that's another part of the overhaul pumpkin cake. I mentioned it in other streams. In fact, the last stream that I did 2 weeks ago has a lot of info on that, so I would recommend checking that out if you want to hear my extensive thoughts on it. But the thing about most of the skills, like in Requiem, is that the perks are... You're going to end up taking the same perks anyway for the vast majority of skills, so they might as well just be passive anyway, right? Like if if it's basically just like perks that fill out a passive curve, why not just make the whole skill passively scaled, right? Or scaled against the skill number level, and that way you don't get like these weird perk power jumps, right? It just kind of feels iterative and natural. And my plan for like destruction was to break up like fire, frost, and shock into like their own skills, right? Because I mean it kind of makes sense like in the lore that like, you know, destruction is like these elemental forces. So the idea that, you know, someone who's good at casting fire magic is also good at casting frost magic is like kind of precedented. But I would like to have those be separate skills because they kind of seem different, right? And to represent their like degree of similarity, I wanted to have maybe like a little system that it's like a I don't even know what you call it. You can call it a familiarity system if you want. But it's like you would kind of like group certain skills together or give those skills like an experience rate bonus based on like your skills in like complementary fields, right? So let's say you're like really, really strong at fire magic, then you never really fucked with frost magic at all. If you include, if you start learning frost magic, you'll learn it at a faster rate than someone would if they didn't know how to cast any of that shit at all. Time is at 1:30. All right. I can keep going for a little bit. Hey, what's up, Rick? Any news on Religion 3.0? I'm working on it. Working on the implementation. That's basically your news. See, Salt and Wind, it's like... I think it's really good work, but my issue's always been that there's no... It's like right here. Here. And paint. There's no like root variation, right? It's like here. That's not a good color. Brush. Right here is like the same as here, which is like not really how human hair works. Oh yeah, that's still the plan for our religion implementation. Is the update to religion going to be dependent on Requiem? No, if I understand your question correctly. As in, like, is it going to... What do you mean? Maybe I should ask. Yeah, well, it's weird. It kind of makes them look like Lego hairs to me. Like, even if you look at this one, which is kind of like the messiest, this shows like some degree of variation, like as you approach the root. But like if you look at human hair, oh, can it be used without Requiem? Maybe. Like, likely not. Or like, as in like as a standalone thingy, then maybe. It depends on how we implement like the buffs and stuff. The only reason actually why it would be entirely dependent on Requiem would be if we somehow use like some sort of Requiem specific like effect or, you know, whatever. But off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything that would make it that. But I also haven't really started implementing it yet. Yeah, I bet, Rick. Rick's an artist, for those of you guys who don't know. So you can see... You would know... See, like, that looks... It's like before after, right? Like the before, it's a bit shiny. I understand that. It's a bit kind of like, you know, L'Oreal Paris, but it at least has that like root variation or like color variation like along the hair. Like that looks more realistic to me than this does. This just kind of looks like the whole hair is just like a singular color, if that makes sense. But I personally prefer more color variation in hair strands from root to... What's the... It's root to end. People say split ends, right? Say root to end. That's good enough. Salt and wind. Vanilla hair. Where did that go? This almost sounds like Smash, this music. Yo, thank you for 11 months. Jesus. That thing I heard. So we're going to copy this. Yo, Paris, thank you for 5 gifted subs. Oh, wait, shit. That was the old one. Jesus. Thank you for 5 gifted subs. I guess my Stream Elements activity feed is updating late. Thanks so much for 5 gifted subs. Yes, these are all mod suggestions. That's why I was saying I managed to crank through about half of them, like in the past week or so, which was like 300 something. And now we have, let's see how many we have left. How did I... Oh yeah, we can look at the numbers. Okay, so we have 398 and at the very bottom 790. So what's the math there? I'm not good at math. Calculator. 790 minus 398. 392. So we're almost exactly halfway. Yeah. Oh, I did, Rick. I drank more than enough during our anniversary trip, and now I'm not grabbing a beer because I'm just getting over a fever, which fucking sucks. But I'm hoping, I'm like really hoping that I'll be chill. I feel like better. I don't feel amazing. I'm probably gonna be signing off pretty quick here, but you know, we have like an event that we wanted to go to later tonight, and I'm hoping beer's good for fevers. Oh, is that true? Beer is good for most things. IRL beer naturally changes color. Yes, absolutely pumpkin cake. I used to have... a lot of you guys probably, I don't think, have seen any of my old pictures from when I was in high school and I had like very long surfer hair. And I was a swimmer. So you would see how some of my hair, it was almost blonde because of like the sun bleaching and also probably the chlorine bleaching. Which means this basically makes action a little more viable early on. This is going to work refilling. Choose balance right. Action soon large small region. I understand. I'm gonna say questionable, not declined outright, since we are likely going with a holistic stones rebalance from Nox or otherwise. But if none of those work out, we can revisit this. Archery locational damage. Isn't there like a full-on locational damage mod? Yeah, well, beer is definitely good for hangovers, and it really is good for everything, isn't it? Locational damage. Fellow Sky. Bug 7. That's not good. Can't be translated. That's not saving properly. Haha. Interesting. Um, that's interesting. Huh. Nexus comment sections are so wild sometimes. Does it work in VR? What is this? It's for VR. Gotcha. Well, what's the difference between that one and this one? This one's only for arrows, huh? Wow! Brutal. Yeah, there's no locational damage by default. Huh. Well, and the locational damage for positive extra damage and stagger effect, depending on the body part the attack hits the active. Okay, I mean that's pretty cool as a framework. Well, here's what we'll say. We'll say needs further assessment. Love the concept, but would prefer a framework that covers melee as well. Like Fella Sky's locational damage. However, has a bug report. Has a bug report saying that it's likely to cause crashes when NPCs are fighting each other. If NPC functionality is enabled, we'll need to evaluate both and see which is preferable. And then we'll do beer is good for blood pressure. Yeah, Lizzie is in overtime right now, unfortunately. No, Drav, I have not. Let me look it up right now. I'm afraid to do this on here. Basic location damage. Okay, this person highly recommends. What's it called? Guess it's this. Well, I would prefer a newer. And I'm assuming this one. Well, let's see. Yeah, it's like a papyrus-based one. Well, why don't we do this? I think probably I will choose between. Let me see here. Archery locational damage. You. Put the same. Concept. Choice between this mod, which seems the standard, and archery locational damage, which only covers archery. I don't know why I capitalize that. Has been updated more recently. Recency? How do you spell that? Recency. Is that incorrect? Is it an S? No way. Whatever. Updates may not matter. Or you can say they have no issues with this mod, and the only bug is NPCs fighting each other and triggering any on-hit events, increasing crash chance. No, not assess and approve. Nice. Small visual improvement stops jail bars look dumb. Amazing. Oh, that's interesting, Drev. Yes, 1.2 is the jobs update. Yeah, I do need to get Grammarly. I love Grammarly a lot. My wife uses it all the time, and it's I've used like several things that have Grammarly like integrations, and I'm like, hey, this is cool, and I always forget to get it. So I'm assuming are the vanilla bars like shitty by default? I can't even remember like what they look like. Oh yeah, well Lizzie's gone ham on the jobs board. It's awesome. Yeah, this is a fear of mine. Oh, this is scary music. What do the... I'm a bit concerned about performance here. So that's what I'm going to say. Needs further assessment. I like the idea of making the bars less spaced out, but some comments report performance issues, which I could see. Need to verify this is not the case. Places every mannequin gives you full control over their gender, size, weight, consciousness, and equipment. The consciousness of my mannequins, huh? That's a little weird looking. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It'd be weird. I mean, you know, some people who have a... everyone's got an opinion, but it'd be weird to me if anyone disliked the changes. It's just like additional cool shit to do, and certainly like making them worthwhile because you get paid proportionately. That's the like that alone would make it worth it. There's just so many cool things you can do now. This is cool. Oh, this is scary. It's like they leaned into the whole mannequins moving things. I mean, these are cool. I could always get rid of this part, I guess. Do they all have like this weird hair thing? Let's see images. They look kind of weird. They look like people. They don't look like mannequins to me. I think I'm gonna skip this one. Yeah, these are a little odd. Say, I like the idea of being able to change mannequin height and weight. Height, weight, gender, but the new models creep me out, and I'm not convinced this is really necessary. Daily eggs, of course. All right, this is gonna be the last one, y'all. I gotta re-up on fluids and take care of some stuff. I'm trying to rest up a bit before tonight. Mannequins are supposed to be creepy. I don't think they need any help in that regard. They already are, especially since, at least before the most recent Bethesda update, mannequins have moved around. For 11 years. Do hens really lay eggs every day? Wait, what? Okay, well... yeah, this is an easy approval. Approved. Okay, yeah, I think that'll be a good spot to call it, especially because these are big ones. Egg. Alright, y'all. Well, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope it was a fun stream. I know I'm a little bit under the weather, but it was fun for me. I like talking about all the game design stuff as well. See, Lizzie, look, we got some done. Probably more than most of the time, in like less of a amount of time too, but I definitely work fastest off stream, I would say. And you guys get some insight into the process, you know what I mean? So I really appreciate everyone hanging out. Let's go ahead and see who's online. Who do we got? Pause. Pausa. Do we have any Skyrim heads? Oh. Does not look like it. Not that I can see anyway. Alright, y'all. Let's go ahead and raid my boy. Oh, okay. How about this? Poll. 12. Nice. Say poll. We're going to raid one of two speedrunners. And say, which speedrun game? Symphony of the Night. Start poll for everyone who's still around. We got a minute. So this is either Waifu, who, if you don't know, Waifu is playing Resident Evil 4. Really awesome speedrunner. Speedruns a bunch of different, largely horror-based games. So, horror, Resident Evil series, really excellent Left 4 Dead runner, which is, those runs are always like super fun to watch for me. And then the other choice is our boy Jupiter Climb, who's a Castlevania speedrunner who's currently playing Symphony of the Night. And those are both excellent games. Two of the best games of all time. So go ahead and give it a vote, and then I'll get it sent over, you know? And then I'm going to take a nap and maybe trying to eat some food. I ate a bowl of chicken noodle soup yesterday that just tasted absolutely bland. But, you know, it's food, and you need to eat when you're sick. Frustratingly. Listen to that. I need to play Bravely Default. Where do people find the time to play JRPGs? That's what I want to know. All right, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. It is. Say raid. Here we go. Jupiter climb. All right, y'all. Thanks so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next week. Hopefully I will feel better than I did today. And I really appreciate you guys coming by. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good weekend. I love you. Bye-bye.